Hey, this is Mike Robinson, and these are my videos to help you be a success in college.
Here we go!
So, this is the fourth video in my series to help undergraduates be successful at college. If you haven't seen the first few, go check them out. The links are in the description below. Because this is one of the most important videos, let's get started. This video is going to be about putting together your weekly plan. Number one, remember, college is now your job. It is your job. It might not feel like it, but it's your job. So you need to put in the hours to be successful so that you can then move on successfully to the next step. You need to put in the hours. No one's going to be sitting over your shoulder saying, do this, do that, work this, work on that. You have to be able to do that, which is why you're going to need a plan. How much time do you spend outside of class? Well, these are rules of thumb. I didn't come up with them, although I agree with them. For every hour of lecture in a STEM course, science, technology, engineering, and math, you should spend 3 hours outside of the course working, whether it's studying notes or writing a paper or working on a project, whatever it might be. So if it's a 3 hour a week class, you will spend 9 hours outside of class working on it. If it's a non STEM course, generally it's 2 hours outside for every hour inside. And if it's a laboratory, for every hour in the lab, you'll spend an hour outside of lab. When you make your plan, spread the hours and the subjects out. You don't want to concentrate all of your work on one subject 4 or 5 hours straight. 2 hours is good, 3 hours maximum. Okay? Spread them out over the days. You'll be much, much happier if you do that. You definitely don't want to do all your biologies on Monday, all your chemistry Tuesday, all your English Wednesday. Free work hours. If you can fit into your schedule, plan up to 5 hours where you work on something, but you don't have it planned ahead of time. You get there and you see, oh, I have to work a little bit more on this English paper this week. Or I have everything done, I can start working on my project that's going to be due in a month. Something like that. Very important. These last 2 points. Include time for yourself to exercise and relax. And remember that some things are more important than studying. Your health, mental well being, those are more important than studying for class. Right? If you need time to take a break, to take care of yourself, you should do that. With a schedule, hopefully you'll plan it out well so that you'll be doing work steadily. You're not going to have these weeks where you have tons and tons of work to do because you've been putting it off. You're going to work steadily, and that should help with these issues, but you never know. And something might come up. Maybe you have to go to the doctor. Maybe you have to go see a counselor. Maybe you just need to take an evening, an afternoon to yourself just to reset. And that's fine, right? That's more important than spending time studying. Let's face it, your health and well being are the most important things. So, schedule time to exercise and relax, but be ready to change your schedule when necessary to accommodate your own needs. And as always, if you need a transcript, send me an email. Okay, so I like to do this my schedule weekly schedule in Excel because I'm a bit of an Excel nerd. So here's a shot of my Excel sheet. I've got days of the week, Monday through Sunday. I start at 7 and I go till 10. You can't see that because that little thing is in the way. Thanks a lot, PowerPoint. But and I have it divided into half-hour segments, which is useful for reasons we'll talk about in the future. I talk about some apps. At the end of the video, I talk about a few apps that could be useful. Um, but I like Excel because I'm very familiar with it and I can do things rather quickly in it, copying, pasting, changing colors. You could just use a little pad and pencil if you want. Okay, but the point is, whatever you decide to use it. So make a plan and then use it. So the first thing you need to do is you need to figure out your obligations. These are things that you are expected to do week in, week out. So here I've gone and filled them in for this one particular student. They wake up at 7, they have breakfast. You see, I put an hour for the meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was probably a bit excessive, but it's okay. Relax a bit, maybe hang out with friends, chat. So they have English 111 Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8 to 9, Chemistry 111 afterwards. There's a chemistry supplemental instruction. If you're not familiar with those are sessions. They're like tutorial sessions. You don't learn any new material, but you go and you practice problems related to the class. They have labs, chemistry and biology labs on Tuesday. And the students in the D&D club, they meet once a week for Monday evenings. Okay? And then I haven't scheduled anything past 10, but if they're waking up at 7, then they go to bed by 11 and they're going to get their 8 hours of sleep a night. I want to stress, you need to get good sleep regularly, okay? Generally speaking, most people need about 8 hours of sleep a night. If you are not getting the sleep that you need, you will perform poorly, maybe get sick. Make sure you're getting the sleep you need every night. Okay, so then the next thing is they should put in whatever other obligations they might have. Do they work? Commuting? Right? So if they work on Sundays, they block off these hours, say, for work. If you're an athlete, maybe you practice. You write those hours in there. Now, this person doesn't have any of those obligations, but they put in exercise 5 days a week for an hour in the afternoon. I liked it at 3 o'clock because it kind of breaks up things a little bit. They can study here and then study here. 5 hours a week, that's fine. You don't have to be in the gym for 3 hours, slamming your quads. Do people slam their quads? I don't know. But you don't have to be doing that. You can. There's nothing wrong with that. But just a little bit of exercise every day is good. Go for a walk. Go for a run. Play pickup. Whatever the case might be. But at least doing an hour of exercise a day. Okay, so now we have the part where we need to schedule in your class work, but is outside of class. So let's look at Biology 111. Biology 111 meets 3 days a week for an hour, which means 3 times that, 3 times 3 hours, we need to schedule 9 hours. I went ahead and scheduled it. 1. The student is doing tutoring twice a week for an hour. I highly recommend tutoring. If tutoring is available to you at a lot of universities, you can get tutoring for free. If tutoring is available to you, go. Give it an honest try. You might find that you don't need it, and that's perfectly fine. You don't have to continue with it if it's not doing you any good. But if you are organized, you can use it as a way to help you better understand the material. So tutoring counts, right? So that's time you're spending outside of class with the material. And then I put in here another 7 hours of biology. That's for reasons that we will talk about later. But if you're curious, you look up the Pomodoro technique and it'll make some sense. So we have no more than 2 hours of biology back to back. That's pretty good. We have biology also spread over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. That's also pretty good. So that's a good start. Now I've filled in for all of the classes. biologies we already covered. I'm not going to go through and talk about every single thing, but we have study chemistry here. I included the chemistry SI as part of my studying for chemistry. Number 2, English 111. That's a non-STEM course. So English 111 is in there for 6 hours. Number 3, calculus meets 4 hours a week. But I think with calculus, you can get away with considering it just a 3-hour class and scheduling 3 hours outside of class. It's going to depend on how skilled you are in mathematics, but a lot of it's going to be problem solving. And so I only scheduled 9 hours of math to 11. For the labs, Bio 111 lab, it's just 3 hours total. So what I've managed to do here is plan a pretty good schedule for this student. Most of their evenings are free. Sunday is completely free. You don't have to plan it that way if you don't want. Now, you might be looking at this and say, how the hell am I going to do all that? Remember, there's a lot of stuff here, but it's not all work. There's 3 hours a day for meals. There's 5 hours a week for exercise. Sunday is all open. You got 4 evenings open from 7 o'clock on. That's plenty of time to hang out, talk to your friends, go see a movie. Now, you might find after a few weeks that you don't need so much time working on or biology. Maybe you need to spend more time working on chemistry. We'll talk more about adjusting your schedule in another video. Okay, but this looks like a good schedule to me. Whatever your schedule is, make the schedule work for you. You need to work when you are most efficient at work. If you prefer to work from 10 to 2 in 10 p.m. to 2 in the morning, okay, that's fine. If that works for you, make sure you're getting enough sleep, but build a schedule in such a way that it works for you. And adjust your schedule as necessary. You might want to adjust math hours or chemistry hours. You will also need to adjust your schedule based on things that happen. Maybe you need to go see a doctor or a counselor. Schedule that during study hours. If possible, keep those hours. Just move them somewhere else during the week. There's a guest speaker coming to campus. Go see them. Schedule your hours at a different time. Try to keep the hours, but only in so much as it is humanly possible. Okay, you don't want to dig yourself into a hole mentally or physically just because you're trying to meet these hours. And I mentioned before, I didn't put it in the schedule, but I mentioned before having free work hours. Let's say you want to schedule 5 hours on Saturday. And rather than it saying study bio 111, it would just say free. And I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but free work is work that you do, you're working, but you just haven't dedicated to anything yet. And so it's the end of the week and you're like, oh, I need to study chapter 13 a little bit more, or I need to prepare for my project in physics that's going to be due in 2 weeks, or whatever the case might be. So it's time that you're productive, but it doesn't really fit a particular schedule. So how do you do this? Physically, how do you do it? What are you doing on? Well, you can do it on paper and pencil if you like, but electronically is probably the best way to do it. I personally use Excel. It's because I'm a bit of an Excel nerd. I know it really well. Maybe you want Google Sheets. You can use iCalendar on your phone, or Outlook Calendar, Google Calendar. Those are all good. There's an app I've tried out called Helium. It's a web app. It seems to be a pretty good way to do this, so you can schedule your classes and you can type in there, I want to study biology, and a reminder comes up, says study biology. Then you click when you finished it. Although to be honest, it was a little glitchy when I was trying to use it on my phone. Maybe you'll have a better experience than I do. And then there's another one called Habitica. I don't know how you pronounce it. If you're a developer, sorry. And that's sort of like a gamified thing where you can put tasks in there and type in study chemistry 111, and then it comes up and there's this little NPC that says time to study chemistry 111, and you study it, and then they give you XP. And it's not for me, but you might enjoy it. Before I get to the summary, let me just show you real quick why I like Excel. Here's my weekly plan. What I can do is just copy this and I'll paste it in a new sheet. And this is for the week of September 15th. What I can do is I can adjust as necessary. So one thing you should look for in an app, at least when you're planning out your entire week, is being able to see the whole week at once. This is what I like. I like being able to see the whole week at once so I can make sure that I've got things spread out. I can follow along and tick off easily what I have and have not done. That's important. You keep a record of the tasks you have performed. So here's how I like to do it. Say it's Monday. I woke up at 7. I did English. I did chemistry. I did biology. Biology ends. I say, okay, what am I supposed to do now? Oh, I study chemistry for an hour. So I go and I study my chemistry for an hour. When I complete all those, I just fill them in black and I know it's done. I have my lunch. I go to calculus. But now I'm supposed to study English at 2 o'clock. However, I need to get some stuff done for my chemistry lab for tomorrow. An hour is good. So, what I will do is I will blacken that box down here. So, my chemistry lab, I did an hour of that, and I'm going to leave this unblackened. Then I did exercise, went to SI, did all the rest of the stuff. Boom, 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 boom. All done. Now there's something to be said. This is just a white font. I'm going to change that because I cannot stand things to be out of order or like that. Sorry. That's partially why I like Excel. You don't have to black out everything like that, but it's satisfying, right? And boom, you finish this day. And now, Tuesday, you can look and you see it. You do all of this stuff here, boom, 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 and you get to this spot, and you're like, oh, this is blacked out. I already did it. What do I have to do? I still have to study English for an hour. I didn't do that. So I can come back here, study the English for an hour, and then tick that off the list. Okay? So that's why I like Excel. You could do the same thing with Google Sheets. You could just make tables in Word if you want. Whatever you like. You could print this out and then put it up on your desk and just cross things off with a marker. Bottom line is, whatever you decide to use, make sure you use it. In summary, remember, college is your job now. You're going to have to spend a lot of time outside of class working. If you're just going to class, that is not enough. How much time out of class? 3 hours per every hour in class if it's a STEM lecture. 2 hours for every hour in class if it's a non-STEM lecture. 1 hour for every hour in class if it's a STEM laboratory. Again, just rules of thumb, you might need to adjust depending on your particular skill set and preferences. Spread the hours and the subjects out over the days. Try not to get more than 2 or 3 hours back to back of the same thing. If it fits your schedule, plan some free work hours that are sort of a fallback, and take care of yourself. Include time to relax and exercise. Don't feel guilty that you're doing it. This is part of your success. And some things are more important than studying. Never ever compromise your mental or physical health just so that you can sit there and study, right? Studying is important, doing well in school is important, but there are some things that are, I think, more important. And that's it. Thank you very much. Make sure you watch the next video where I talk about putting together a plan for the entire semester. Have a good one.